Hello everyone and welcome to episode 54 of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play series. Today we are going to be finishing up our current adventures on our Norn Ranger as we head into chapter 5 of the personal story, where this is the second time that we will be doing the personal story on one of our Let's Play characters. Where with chapter 5 we are helping out the different races of the world, and on our Norn character I want to help out the Grawl, which will be here in Dredgehaunt Cliffs, and we can start our personal story mission, which is actually going to start right down here, which is very nice to where we logged out last episode at Grawl, or how we pronounce this waypoint, but we can come down to the Bergtrode homestead. And let's go ahead and meet our order representative, Sieran, because we're a member of the Dermot Priory, and we can see about any of the Grawl activity in this area, like that camp that I pointed out earlier last episode, and we can see if there is anything we can do to help. So here is a really cool concept art of some Grawl, and then we have Bergtrode Ice Treader here.
She sounded real mad. I think it was that weird, hairy guy with the bone hats. She kicked him out into the snow. Good. He was creepy, and he talked funny.
And we have Sieran here as well, so let's go ahead and chat with these two.
Excuse me? Did I hear that right? You forced an injured Grawl out into the snow? Whatever happened to Norn hospitality?
It only goes so far. All that brute did was grunt and bleed and moan about his false god. I'm as charitable as the next person, but he was stinking up the place, and I didn't want him scaring my kids. So out he went.
To bleed out, freeze to death, or be eaten by a wild predator? Charming. Well, if we follow the trail of blood and tears, I'm sure we'll find him in no time. Thanks so much for all you've done.
So Sieran with a backhanded comment. Let's go ahead and track down the injured Grawl. So we can look for any like blood spots on the ground here, or we see some footprints over here that we can go ahead and examine. This. The tracks on the ground indicate the Grawl shaman has passed this way. Let's go ahead and take care of this unwanted attention of a few ice worm hatchlings. Shouldn't be too big of a threat. And then let's head further north here, where we have some priory people, and we have a Grawl right here on the ground, and we can come up to here.
What is that?
And then looks like there's a blood-crazed Arctidus that is coming for the Grawl. He's bleeding out. And then let's go ahead and deal with this Arctidus. And we have a Grawl here who is very concerned about this bear. But alongside that, it is also interesting that this Grawl is kind of just here in general. There's like a lone shaman trying to talk to like some Norn and like some other researchers in this area. So there might be potentially something wrong going on with where this Grawl came from, that we can talk to him and see why exactly he came on this journey and why he's bleeding and attracting all these different animals with his blood. Arctidus goes down. Let's go ahead and chat with the Grawl shaman.
Hello, Grawl. We're from the Dermot Priory, and we're looking for a shaman named Gara. Are you him?
I am nothing. The god I praised is false. It has the power of winter, but it tried to kill me and failed. It is no god. A true god would not have failed. My god is merely a savage beast. I am lost. Just let me freeze.
No, we will not let you perish. You have to tell your people that their god is false, that it's merely a dragon minion. We'll help you.
They won't listen. Though it failed to kill me, the false god is very strong. It brings ice and death. They fear it and will not risk its anger.
They will if we prove it's no god. We know a lot about this sort of thing. I'm sure we can get them to listen.
Maybe. Yes. With your help. Perhaps they will listen. My home is not far from here. I will meet you there.
So it looks like this tribe of Grawl are worshipping a minion of Jormag,
I will meet you back at the village.
which is definitely not a good thing, but we can go ahead and meet with Gara at his village. Ulok's Hunger, I believe, is the name of the village, which is this Grawl encampment right over here in Mountain's Tail that we can waypoint to, and then we can run up there. And this is another kind of exciting area in the world, where just like the Skritt cave that we were at on our human guardian, where we can only go into that cave when we are like playing through the personal story here, this cave here belonging to the Grawl is very similar, where at least by conventional means you could probably break out of the map somehow. You can only get into this cave through the story, like we are going to do right here with this beautiful concept art. Let's go ahead and go further into the stronghold here. We have like a very cool cave walls and then just a bunch of Grawl here.
And crazy. My god is stronger than yours.
Your god is just a rock. My god lights up the whole night sky. The rock is weak.
Rock is strong. The ice god is stronger. Stronger than yours, too.
And then we have Gara down here with some other shamans. And this is a very cool cave, and it looks like it goes deeper
Listen
that
to
way.
me. The ice god tried to kill me and failed. Gods don't fail. It is no god.
And let's go ahead and chat with him.
Any progress, Gara? Have you convinced your people the Ice God is really a dragon minion?
No. The other shamans don't believe. They say I was rejected by the god, and that's why I didn't go to paradise. Now they're afraid the god will be angry because I wasn't worthy. I can't convince the tribe until I convince the shamans.
Then we have to find a way around the shamans. We'll take your plea straight to the people.
We'll have to show them indisputable proof, or at least stop the other shamans from stirring up the people against Gara, so he can make his case. Either way, we have to move fast. You're the one who's good at planning, Explorer. How should we handle this? Bring back proof from the False God's cave, or help Gara convince the people directly?
So we have our first decision of this story, where we can choose a plan to acquire proof of the false god or help Gara convince his people. So I think I want to go on a little bit of an adventure, and let's go get some proof from this cave, and we can show this proof to the other shamans and they can convince the rest of the tribe here. So let's get proof from the cave, select done, and then you can go ahead and get our rewards from this first mission here, where we can get some upgraded pants. So I'm going to go ahead and equip these, and I leveled up to level 53, and we got some hero points and a light crafting bag, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and exile this instance, and before we go into the next instance, let's go ahead and take a moment to look at our build and our like hero panel or training panel here. So we have a new trait slot that we can put, or a trait line that we can put a new trait line into, where we have marksmanship, and let's go ahead and go with skirmishing, and we can go ahead and quickly go through all of these different traits. So I'm just going to complete the whole line here, and then I'm going to equip it in here. And then let's do a quick run through where we can gain swiftness when swapping weapons, which we do swap weapons frequently, which is nice. Our pet and I have a chance to cause bleeding. Successfully evade an attack, you gain vigor. Increase the duration of boons and conditions applied by traps. Offensive traps inflict cripple. I think I want to go ahead and go with the bleeding here. We have gain fury when swapping weapons in combat, which is nice. We have spotter, which is like used to be one of the most important traits in the entire game, and it is still like decently good, but it's not as good as it used to be. Where basically you just grant fury to yourself and other people every 10 seconds. Here, you and your pet gain power, gain additional power when wielding a sword, or bleeding you inflict is more dangerous. Let's go with bleeding. And then here, you deal more damage and have an increased chance to critically strike when attacking from behind or the side, or when striking a defiant foe, which is nice. When swapping weapons, the next ranger weapon skill you use will recharge faster, 66% faster. Damage and condition duration are increased after dodging or using quick shot. Short bow skills pierce and gain recharge rejection, and their attacks from behind or while flanking or against defiant foes are improved. Or Fury grants velocity and additional increased critical strike chance. When struck while below the health threshold, gain Fury. I think I want to go with this light on your feet. And then let's go ahead and come into our training panel again, and let's go ahead and pick some new stuff. So I haven't really messed around with spirits, which like aren't my favorite thing in the game if I'm being a little bit honest, but I want this sun spirit here, which basically is going to apply blindness to nearby enemies. The spirit will slam the ground and then shake, granting boons to nearby allies. So this will just buff us up a little bit here. You can also just kind of look at any of these other ones, and I don't think I want them. And then let's come into Signet training perhaps, where the Signet of the Hunt is pretty nice, and so is Signet of Stone. I don't think I want any of these new things we can learn specifically, but we can come into here and let's go ahead and swap out our Flame Trap for Spike Trap, where we have a Bleed. And then actually, well, I'm going to put Flame Trap back there. Let's swap out Quickening Zephyr for Spike Trap. And then let's go ahead and take Sikkim and put Sun Spirit, and we can mess around with these two skills here. And now let's go ahead and go to our next mission, which is down here at Steel Bracken, which is where we first came into the zone for the first time. So let's just waypoint to Troll's Teeth and run over there. And we can enter this story mission here, the False God's Lair, and we can go ahead and try to find this false god and get evidence of it.
I will take you to the offering cave.
This is a blighted mess. You have the patience of the tree, scholar.
So let's go ahead and run up here.
But I prefer warmer climates where things can grow.
So Sieran definitely doesn't like the cold, which is interesting because she is a member of the German Friary, so she spends a lot of time in the Shiver Peaks when she's at their headquarters.
The entrance is sealed tight. How do we get in?
The god opens the gate when we stand on the sacred spot. It's over there, by those stones.
Then someone stand on that spot. I can't wait to see what comes through the gate.
So Sieran can't wait to see what comes through the gate, but I'm definitely a little nervous about this because what type of minion is this going to be? It looks like Gara's running over there. And here are a bunch of minions of Jormag, including some Sons of Svanir. So let's go ahead and try to group them up a little bit, and then we can use our Axe 5, which of course that is my favorite combo in the game, but I do get knocked down quite a bit, so I'm thinking maybe I should try to get some stability on my build, maybe so that I can execute that combo without getting knocked down. And then having some stability would be nice if I could knock that down like outside of it, and then I could just kind of like break myself from that stun. So that's something we could look at for our build. Let's go ahead and come in here and put down both of these traps, and then we can apply a ton of bleeding and burning to our enemies, and then of course we apply vulnerability somehow. I'm not exactly sure, but we deal quite a bit of damage as well, which is nice. And then running into here, we can see it looks like a little bit of a dwarven ruin in this cave. And apparently this reminds you, or reminds Sieran of a human tomb that she ran through, where there was a bunch of spiders, and of course we have a ton of spiders here as well. So let's go ahead and just clear them out, and then there are some Sons of Svanir running into here that we can go ahead and deal with as well. And then there's an Ice Brood Hunter and some other Ice Brood Maulers and Seers and a Berserker in here, and a bunch of Grawl on the ground. And let's go ahead and just deal with them. So these are Norn that have been like converted by Jormag into his own minions, and kind of like lose a bit of the control that they previously had as they become like mindless thralls basically. And let's go ahead and just kind of free them, but they probably brought themselves into this own mess because they're probably Svanniers that gave themselves up to Dragon. We can deal with the smaller, and then we can collect the Grawl remains to prove Gara's claims. So Grawl Bone Pile, and we can chat with them.
Take a look at this, Gara. Do your gods take people to paradise and leave their bones behind?
No. This should prove that the false god is eating the offerings we send. But the false god will keep coming. If we don't give it the offerings, it'll come to us for its food. And it won't come alone.
That's no problem. We're coming with you. It's time for your false god to pay for all those free meals. I look at these creatures and I think of my home in the Grove. What would I be willing to do if something threatened it?
And we can get a new chest piece here with 3 new skins that we have not unlocked. So I think I want to go with this Trooper's Jerkin that has a Council Watch chest guard collectible. So let's go ahead and accept that. And this is a very special like piece of armor we can get, because it's actually a dungeon armor for Caudicus's Manor, where when you complete the explorable mode version of Caudicus's Manor, like how I mentioned in the Ascalon Catacombs, you can get special currency. At least I believe I mentioned that. You get special currency that you can then spend on special weapon skins and armor skins, and this is the medium chest plate that we can equip. and then we can see it on our character here, and I quite like the skin, so I think we're going to rock this for a little bit, and we can go ahead and go back to the Grawl village and kind of show these bones to the Grawl there and try to convince them that this ice brood is not a god. So coming into this story mission, let's go ahead and enter it. Attempted deicide, and we can go ahead and run back through this cave.
We'd better hurry. Gara's waiting for us in the village.
And let's go ahead and meet Gar in the village.
We might be the founders of a whole new Grawl way of thinking.
You have seen the bones of our offerings. They were not taken to paradise. They were eaten. If we make no offering, the false god will come here to eat us all. We will not worship an unworthy, unclean thing. We will destroy it.
And it looks like the Grawl were convinced. So let's go ahead and join them as they all charge out of the cave here, and we can defeat the marauding ice brood. So it looks like they are forming like a line right here, and then we have the entrance to the cave right here that looks to be a little bit sealed.
Watch out for the false god's minions.
And then we have a ton of Sons of Swan here. So, I thought I was on my longbow there. Let's go ahead and throw this down. I've been really bad with my rolling axes right there, but this is also a pretty good skill to use against all the Sons of Swan in here. And there's just like a kind of like a massive battle going on right now between a bunch of Grawl and like a bunch of Sons of Swan here. So let's go ahead and deal with them all as Gara kind of cheers us on and motivates the troops. It looks like we are falling back a little bit, and we can go ahead and just deal with the Sons of Swan here coming further into the cavern here, and then we should have the ice brood that will join us soon. We just leveled up again to level 54. Let's go ahead and get this reward. I'll go ahead and pick the strength booster, and then let's go ahead and throw down our barrage skill. I always forget the names of skills. I always refer to them as like the weapon and then the number, so longbow 5. But let's go ahead and deal with this claymore, and then potentially the ice brood will be entering into the cavern or another group here. Looks like there's a giant ice brood Norn charging in right now, so let's go ahead and try to deal with this ice brood monstrosity as he basically kind of shatters like part of the ceiling down on us, and then we can start damaging him here, pop our elite skill, and then we have 3 traps. Let's go ahead and pop them all down here. And then it looks like we broke the Ice Brood Norn's Defiance bar, so we can go ahead and just do a ton of damage, but he goes invincible at 75%. Sieran says this thing is tougher than it looks, and it looked tough to begin with. So I'm starting to wish I really had that stun break on my action bar. It looks like the Norn is charging this way again, and we are definitely making a little bit of progress. We can try to break the break bar again, but he definitely takes quite a bit of damage, except he just has like an invincibility phase every 25%, which makes this fight a little bit longer, and he definitely stuns us a lot, which makes this fight a little bit longer as well. Try to throw in that. Oh, looks like we're not going to break it in time. Let's go ahead and try to finish off the 25% there, and it looks like he's not going to charge around again, so we can go ahead and just throw in some of this and some of that and some of this and then some of that, and we can just finish off this ice brood Norn here. 2% health, and we can save the Grawl village basically.
We are finally free.
And let's go ahead and chat with Gara.
I'm sorry, Gara. The false god, the Sons of Svanir. They were stronger than we thought.
So many of my people gone. Our homes destroyed. That was no god. But its fury was just as bad. What did you call it? Dragon minion?
Yes. The Elder Dragons send them out to claim as much of Tyria as they can.
We have to stop them wherever we find them. That's why the Priory sent us here. If we don't stand together, the entire world could end up like this.
I understand. We owe you a great debt. When you're ready to fight these dragons, send for me. I will stand with you. Until then, we must find a new home. Maybe even a new god. But if we cannot find a worthy god, we will worship no god at all.
You're definitely learning. And when the time comes, we'll be glad to have you. Until then, farewell, Shaman.
And we completed this mission, which I believe is the end of this chapter. I'll go ahead and pick that. And we have completed chapter 5 of the personal story, and this is a super quick chapter. With chapter 5, all of the different like missions that we can do depending on what race we want to help are like super fast. We know when we explored the Skritt, that chapter was definitely super fast, but the Grawl one was even faster than that one. And it's kind of like a little bit of an unfortunate like thing that happens in the personal story is that chapter 5 is definitely a little bit weaker compared to like all the other chapters in the game. Chapter 2 is also like a pretty short chapter in the personal story, but being able to explore some of the lesser races of Terria is definitely a nice thing, especially since we probably haven't interacted with most of these races in like a peaceful way, so it's kind of nice to see the more peaceful people of these races spread throughout the world. But there is one more thing that I want to do in this episode other than doing this personal story chapter, which is returning to Lornor's Pass that we explored 2 episodes ago, as well as like way back when. But I want to do a jumping puzzle that I skipped over, and it's located over here at the Foss Lake waypoint, and the entrance is in Foss Lake, and it's a pretty like a decently large jumping puzzle. It's not like super long, but it's not like short at all, but it is a jumping puzzle that people have some issues with, like the mechanics of the jumping puzzle. So let's go get started. So here we are at Foss Lake, and I am going to go ahead and run down here, and we can go into the lake and we can start exploring this jumping puzzle, where if you look at our map here, we can see there's an unexplored map sector right here. And then when we were at this waypoint and when we were just in like this area in general, we got a warning that we could not be on mounts, which signifies that there is like a jumping puzzle or another similar thing located in the area. But we can come down here and there's this, oh, that was weird. And that waypoint was contested, and I was teleported to the nearest waypoint, which is in Dredgehaunt Cliffs. So I think there was like a big server hiccup right there. Let's go ahead and go back to Foss Lake. And then coming into this ruin here, I believe we can come through right here. And then we want to swim down a little bit, but there's this ice strike here that kind of crushed my game a little bit, or forced me to disconnect. So I'm kind of scared to fight this ice strike. Let's go ahead and deal with him. And we can actually put our traps down in the water, which is very interesting. I think it makes like a sphere instead of like a circle. But let's go ahead and deal with this Arctic jellyfish. And then this is a very like tight and cramped area right here. But we can find our way somewhere right here, or it might be at another spot. Actually, might not be right here. Might be over here. Might be in this part of the building right here that we can come into. And I just lost connection again. And I was sent to the closest friendly waypoint again. Okay, let's try to swim down here, and we can get in this hole, and then this goes into an underwater tunnel that we can swim through. It looks like I'm getting rolled back a little bit because I put my elite skill there. So this is a very interesting server hiccup going on right now. I just checked the Reddit and nobody's talking about it, but let's go ahead and swim up here, and we can see a brand new area of the world here called Griffin Rook Run. And there are a ton of griffins in here, and it's just like a really cool canyon area here as well that we can see with like some ancient ruins and then just some griffins around here. And this jumping puzzle is a little bit of like a timed jumping puzzle where we can come over to this like dwarven structure right here, and we can interact with this teleportation stone, which is going to teleport us up here where we have Adventurer Thrada. And basically this is the central person that we are going to be interacting with in this jumping puzzle here, where we can talk to Thrada, and she says the griffins here protect a rare treasure at the far end of their rookery, but you will need a bomb to free it from the chest. Where basically we need to get this bomb from here all the way over there, and there are some chests along the way that we can interact with. But we need the bomb all the way over there so we can interact with the last chest. We have to blow the chest up in order to get the loot inside of it and also get our achievement for doing this jumping puzzle. And along the way, we need to basically go through the jumping puzzle, and then we need to make sure we don't drop the bomb or use the bomb, and we need to make sure we don't get knocked off at all. And a lot of people don't like this because it's annoying, and I don't find it particularly annoying. It's definitely like a tiny bit annoying, but it's just more on like the challenging side of things, I guess. So let's go ahead and get this bomb, And I think, yeah, we only have 3 minutes to do it. So on top of everything else, there's just another factor there. And I have no idea where exactly I'm going. So I'm just going to wing it right now because I have not done this legit in a very long time. Where with a lot of jumping puzzles nowadays, you can kind of just use a mesmer to get to the end where a mesmer is parked here. And I think we want to come up here, but I could be completely wrong. And it looks like the bomb just exploded, so here we go on the little bit of an annoying side of things. Let's go ahead and deal with these 2 griffins right here so we can clear them out. And I just lost connection again. This time I'm sent back to Lornar's Pass. So it looks like I am not the only person that this is happening to. So I feel like Lornar's Pass is having some sort of server hiccup right now. So what I think I'm going to go ahead and do is to basically just run through the jumping puzzle. I basically already explained it, but I'm going to run through it probably tomorrow or whenever the servers are doing better. And I'll just throw some music on, and then at the end we can do a little bit of an outro here where I'm going to do the outro right now, but also in 3 minutes. So see you then. And with having completed this jumping puzzle, I am going to go ahead and call this episode good here, and hopefully I can get through this outro without getting disconnected again. But I hope you all enjoyed watching through this pretty short episode, and I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Tyria. Goodbye.